I bet you've never seen it like this, though. It is quiet. You can hear the sound of birds. It is also empty. At least, it looks empty. It's actually crowded, with memories dating back 154 years. Generations of AUB students have walked along these paths. It is here that they made lifelong friendships, celebrated achievements, and made dreams come true. Campus will reopen soon enough. We're looking forward to welcoming you back to the classrooms, laboratories, the gym, and the swimming pool, your favorite bench on campus, concerts in Assembly Hall, and milestone events on campus. Opening Day, Founders Day, class reunion, commencement on the green field, we will then say, Ahlan wa sahlan. See you soon as it's safe.
From the first days after the explosion, the center established a presence in 3 affected neighborhoods. We recruited hundreds of volunteers to clear debris and shattered glass and sealed windows with plastic sheets. Supervised teams of volunteers built trust and relationships with affected residents. Volunteer experts are mapping and assessing damages in preparation for the next phase of recovery, targeted home rehabilitation for vulnerable residents.
However, seeing this, there was a crack which is straight, the wall is straight.
The trauma assessment and support clinic was started 2 weeks after the Beirut 4th of August explosion, with the purpose to serve the community using the specialist resources we have in the department and to facilitate access for those who had not been in the psychiatric system prior to this situation.
The method is the veneer grafting.
Veneer grafting.
Because we only remove the upper veneer of the branch
branch.
and we insert the buds in it.
Honestly, we're hoping that we get as much as possible time here, and we didn't really believe that we're here until we came and we're actually physically here. Yeah.
We're very short on time, so we're not sleeping well, but it's fine because we're all very excited to be on the field working.
Nothing can really replace the experience on the field and working with our hands and learning from our mistakes in the field. When we came here, it was even above our expectations. We're really having fun and it's really great.
Yeah, I don't even want to go back. I want to stay
It's
here.
very easy because we have good company. So
Yes,
Yeah.
the
we're,
3
really
weeks
good,
that
we're making good bonds and lifetime friendship.
Please be seated. Members of the faculty and staff, candidates for degrees, parents, alumni, and friends joining virtually, President Fadlo Khuri, I declare that this 152nd commencement of the American University of Beirut for the Faculty of Health Sciences to be now assembled and in session for the purpose of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored trustees, deans, faculty, staff, parents, and families joining virtually, and most especially the Faculty of Health Sciences class of 2021, welcome to your graduation. Where has all the good news gone? Something we ask ourselves these days, more than we should perhaps. In periods of great historical upheaval or change, it's received wisdom that bad news frequently dominates the news cycle. The eras of the COVID-19 pandemic globally and the deep economic, political, and social collapse in Lebanon are no different. Even the use of striking scientific technology combined with ambitious agency and resources leading to warp speed development of new vaccines against this deadly virus and the increasing availability of multiple highly effective genetically modified vaccines has been met with far too much sound and fury. The privileged are getting too much of the vaccine, goes the hue and cry in the United States, Europe, the developed world, the global south, and yes, of course, when it applies to septuagenarian members of parliament in Lebanon too. It is true that a disproportionate number of vaccine doses have been administered in richer countries, but one could suggest that these privileged few, or at least to this clinical investigator, retired as I might be, could be seen as the first cohort beyond the clinical trials to be tested for the short, intermediate, and long-term effects of the mRNA vaccines. And no, nobody's going to die of these vaccines in 2 years. And yes, some of the vaccines, particularly those based on adenovirus technology, do appear to be associated with the development of selective and symptomatic thromboses in the central nervous system. However, if the odds of developing serious clotting in or around the brain are weighed against the risk of developing life-threatening clots from the virus itself, the risk-benefit analysis argues strongly in favor of taking whichever vaccine is first available to an individual. And there are a significant number of novel, highly effective vaccines, something that has been celebrated far less frequently and far less loudly than it should have been. Quite the contrary, sadly. Recent analysis of news cycles related to the vaccines shows that they are overwhelmingly slanted towards their lack of availability, their potential side effects, and the disparities between the highly industrialized nations that were able to obtain large quantities of these vaccines and the nations of the global south, frankly a term I learned from this faculty, where vaccination remains far more challenging and resources are far more strained. This was brought home in force when India, the world's largest producer of vaccines, recently descended into arguably the most devastating viral surge seen since the beginning of the pandemic. Other than covering the heroic actions by healthcare providers during the various surges, what else has been in the news of late? Destructive confrontations triggered by overwhelming imbalances of might, and yes, a glaring lack of equality in basic human, civil, and citizenship rights. I'm speaking, of course, of the treatment of Palestinians in their homeland. A glaring absence of social justice and an even more glaring lack of empathy. Atrocious, unfathomable leadership exacerbating violence and the insecurity of large swaths of humanity. In this caustic, cynical, and hostile atmosphere, is it any wonder that trust in leadership has collapsed globally to its lowest level in several decades. Add to that the weaning off of the gerbil inoculum created during and after World War II, which prevented these all-consuming massive wars, and we see a world currently on the edge of a precipice of confrontation, immersed in fear and willing to believe any news that is bad, that all motives are dark. Whether the news is properly sourced and referenced and reported, or invented and disseminated widely on that most reliable of sources, social media. Perhaps the lessons of history have not been as well learned as one might have hoped. It may well be, and this is increasingly my opinion, an admittedly unpopular one, that we expect too much of our all-too-human leaders. I recognize that this will seem misguided to many, and you have every right to expect that your elected and appointed leaders should fulfill their obligation, not only to set higher moral standards, but also their obligations to the very people that they have sworn to shepherd and protect, and the very institutions and constitutions that they have pledged to preserve. The world likes its leaders wholesome, humble, wise, and yes, pure. Unfortunately, if one looks beyond the major prophets of monotheism and a few other striking examples of great women and men who lead effectively, humanely, humbly, and wisely, and who pass the character test with flying colors, we find these examples are extremely rare. Reprehensible moral behavior, overweening ambition, crushing insecurity, most of these character flaws exclude their owners from having historical impact, and indeed they may have enabled their actions. Take Otto von Bismarck, the 19th century statesman and the first German chancellor and subject of the eminent historian Jonathan Steinberg's scholarly, impassioned, and best-selling biography, Bismarck Alive. Bismarck had many of these flaws, but these flaws did not exclude him from having a profound historical impact. Much has been written about Bismarck's wars, the unification of Germany, the development of Realpolitik, and the startling empowerment of an absolute monarchy. Rather less is heard, especially these days, about the construction under Bismarck's aegis of the very first social safety net. So in the 1800s, Germany had a social safety net that sadly Lebanon lacks until today. An undertaking, the construction of that safety net, fully joined by the grandfather of our own trustee, Alexander Ercklands, or the granting of universal suffrage well before other European nations, a battle still not yet fully secure in the United States, where voters' rights are once more imperiled, or the development of an elected and inclusive Bundestag, one that brought together representatives of the various kingdoms, principalities, and dukedoms of Germany and Prussia. All of these monumental steps were not the focus of Steinberg's angular portrayal of a man most historians consider 19th century Europe's most influential and arguably greatest statesman, despite his manifest human flaws. But the protagonists of Steinberg's account and of Bismarck's life are not just the Iron Chancellor, but the many rich, complex, and yes, all too human characters that inhabit and enable Bismarck's story, and his, and ultimately, our world. And therein lie several of the lessons we grasp all too infrequently. Life can indeed conform to Macbeth's dark, despairing epitaph on learning of the suicide of his wife, co-conspirator, and life partner. Macbeth said life was a tale full of sound and fury, told by an idiot signifying nothing. What could be darker than that? But more frequently, life is a rich tapestry of flawed colors, bright, full of human beings who rise and fall, and more often than not, rise again to make a difference, even as they struggle with but somehow overcome their own flaws. Biographies of great women and men tell us their stories, but there in the background lie heroes and villains, contributors and detractors, largely hidden from view until one adjusts one's sights. And that is something you will learn as public health professionals, as medical and health professionals to pay attention to, because the great healers, the great scholars, the great scientists, writers, artists, epistemologists, philosophers, engineers, and musicians are just off-center in the stories of legends. But their real words and deeds make an everyday difference, more often than not for the better. Take people like the Turkish-German husband and wife co-inventors, Ugur Sahin and Özlem Tureki, of the mRNA technology that has helped vaccinate and save so many lives. And indeed, people in our own AUB community who are far too numerous to do justice to here, but they include your mentors, your teachers, your staff, your faculty, and one another. They include our graduate, the savvy and dedicated Shara Shqair, who led President Biden's remarkable US national vaccination campaign, which will ensure that by July 4th, America will be open with more than 70% of people having at least one dose and close to 60% having both doses of vaccine where necessary. And that will enable more vaccines to come to the global south. Or closer to home, Nuhad Dumit, Gladys Hnain, Iman Wahid, Najat Saliba, Lina Dao Oiri, Ala Aoun, Rima Karami, Charlotte Karam, Carmen Jaha, and others, heroes who helped bring Khaddit Beirut and its inspiring and life-affirming services to the patients and populations of the devastated Karantina district of Beirut. Or Karine Sa'er, Nada Milhim, Marco Bardas, and Suha Kenj of our COVID Experts Committee, who've tirelessly prioritized the safety of our community before all else and have developed the platform by which you yourselves will be vaccinated when you're done and will help to vaccinate others. Or Ali Abu Alfa, a modern-day role model who directs the Human Research Protection Program at AUB, enabling legions of AUB faculty to conduct clinical trials. Or your own magnificent Dean, Abla Sibai, who has constructed a model of lifelong learning for our senior community and worked tirelessly to make sure this graduation happened. So the next time you despair while reading the news, weighed down by sensationalism rather than lifted by rationalism, reflect carefully on what you can do to bring good news to the world, to make certain that in the immortal words of Robert Kennedy, you can count yourselves among the precious and privileged few who can genuinely state, some see things as they are and ask why. I see things that never were and ask why not. By insisting on shaping a better, fairer, more inclusive, and more hopeful world, you can answer the question of where all the good news has gone, because you, my AUB class of 2021, you are all of our good news, and the good news for a better world. Congratulations. Thank you. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the student speaker for this commencement, Ms. Khawla Nasser Al Deen. As Khawla makes her way up here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Khawla joined FHS in the fall of 2019 on a tropical disease scholarship to pursue her Master's of Public Health, concentrating on health promotion and community health, after receiving her Bachelor of Arts in Psychology at Berea College in the US. Throughout the program, Khawla has been an effective voice in advancing student interests and in organizing student activities. She joined the Anti-COVID-19 Public Health Initiative at FHS as a student representative and coordinated the FHS COVID-19 Student Task Force. Given the many myriad crises facing Lebanon, Khawla joined in an FHS effort with the Counseling Center to design a campus-wide mental health intervention emphasizing peer support. She served as an online volunteer with the UN Volunteer Field Unit in Lebanon, mapping volunteer initiatives in Lebanon in response to the Beirut blast and COVID-19. She recently received the This is Public Health Global Ambassadors Award, Mabruk Khawla, by the U.S. Association of Schools and Programs in Public Health. As one of her faculty nominees described her, Khawla is one of the most dedicated and mature graduate students I've ever taught. I appreciate not only her work ethic, but her thinking about the meaning of the work she does. Khawla embodies the humility, passion, and commitment to social justice that characterize the public health field and the ethos of AUB.
Hello. Sorry, I'm boiling with emotions. This is the most crowd I've been around in 15 months. Thank you, Dr. Khuri. Good evening, Dr. Khuri, Dean Sibai, Dr. Young, my HPCH and FHS family, my fellow classmates, graduating students, our friends and families who are watching us on screens. It is a great pleasure to be here with you today on the Green Oval. I was sitting here on my first day at AUB, and I remember very well thinking that this would become my go-to place for reading and resting between classes, but we all know that this definitely was not the case. We definitely did not have enough time together in person, but I'm very proud and very thankful for sharing this journey of personal and academic growth together, and I'm very proud of all the ways that we supported each other in the middle of this uncertainty. Being able to gather here today says so much about the admirable efforts of the COVID-19 response champions in Lebanon, who have been working tirelessly so that we can all regain some sort of normalcy today. As we celebrate volunteerism, I want to extend my gratitude to all the public health champions and essential workers whose stories we know and those whose stories we do not know yet, who are making a difference in people's lives in their diverse ways. As explained before, our community has been facing unprecedented hardships, and volunteers have been on the forefront of responding to community needs. While I was mapping volunteer initiatives in Lebanon in response to Beirut Blast with UN volunteers, my team came across more than 200 diverse individual and group initiatives that together created a wave of social solidarity, all within a week from the blast. Health experts, practitioners, and health students volunteered to provide free checkups, treatment, and rehabilitation. Engineers and engineering students rushed to conduct damage assessments and map the damaged areas. Urban activists advocated for protecting heritage buildings and establishments. Environmentalists were recycling glass and handling electronic waste. Everyone had a role to play. Beyond the classrooms, I personally learned public health from the streets of Beirut by marching against the patriarchy in support of women's rights, by sitting in health circles with environmental activists, by standing in solidarity with cancer patients, demanding dignified and affordable treatment. To me, this is public health. I'm very honored to receive the award today, and I promise to carry it as a recommitment for serving the community. And I'm very grateful to be molded by FHS's mission to promote health justice. I would like to thank my professors and mentors at FHS who are here or on the screens today, the change makers, public health and community development leaders who inspire me daily. And to the new FHS alumni, congratulations on your graduation. It was not an easy journey, I know. As we navigate our journey beyond AUB, I hope that we can continue to reflect on our roles in the community and to learn from civic engagement. And as you go into this new rhythm, I invite you to recenter, check in, and make a habit of asking yourselves, how do I share what I learned here with the community? What can I change? I would like to dedicate this award to my parents, sisters, and my partner Fabien, who are my role models in compassion and have shared their unconditional support and encouragement with me throughout this program. Shukran and congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
يسعد مساكم. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Qasim Qasak, and I'm your Master of Ceremony for tonight. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to be with you. And I'm sorry that we cannot be with your parents, but I'm sure that the President and Dean Abla Sibai have and will be explaining that more. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our Dean, Dr. Abla Sibai. Please join me in welcoming her.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Qasim. Khawla, this is as emotional to me as you have said, as it was emotional to you. This is the first time I'm addressing FHS graduates as Interim Dean, and I'm very glad and it's a pleasure to be addressing you. President Khuri, Provost, Associate Dean, Dr. De Jong, esteemed faculty, proud parents, and family members watching us virtually, and to the graduates of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Class 2021, congratulations. Graduation Day is and will always be one of the most significant days in your lives. But this one is really so special. In fact, it's epic. It's presenting a unique experience to an extraordinary graduating cohort. Why this is so exceptional? Who would have imagined only a few years ago when you joined AUB that a new coronavirus would sweep the world and that the country will be bleeding with challenging, painful, earth-shattering, multi-layered crises, pushing more people into poverty, loss of jobs, and shrinking economies? Who would have imagined that your learning would be mostly online, with or without lockdown, and that you will be juggling with Zoom classes, one after another, while struggling with internet connectivity, and for some, grappling with homeschooling and caregiving responsibilities as well? Who would have imagined that you would be receiving your certificates today, wearing masks, exercising physical distancing, not able to hug each other after the ceremony, or to huddle for photos with family and friends by your side? You are unique. You are unique not only because all of the above, but because despite the above, you received a great education from an outstanding family, and you were supported by dedicated staff, who, by the way, were also struggling with similar challenges as yours. And yet, you were able to carry on and adapt and progress with perseverance and achieve brilliance. These are certainly overwhelming, rapidly changing times. A lot has been disrupted, but also so much has been created and advanced to the forefront. You are graduating at a time in history when Lebanon and the world desperately need you. We need the workforce skilled in public health and health sciences. Today, more than ever, we need the health communicator to fight the infodemics, the environmental health specialist, the scientist in the medical lab, in the audiology and imaging fields. We need the researcher, the epidemiologist to formulate evidence-based responses, the statistician and data analyst, the administrator, the system expert, the program evaluator, the influencer influencing policy and behavior. We also need the field workers, the frontliners, and most of all, we need the activists striving for sustainable solutions and a more just world. Let us recall Gandhi's principles: wealth without work, knowledge without morality, science without humanity. These are some of the deadly blunders that will destroy us and grow inequity and social injustice around. And this is a charge we take very seriously at the Faculty of Health Sciences. FH Class 2021, we have watched you grow, jumping the wave and using your skills to aid in the COVID-19 response, working with migrant communities and vulnerable refugees. We have watched you volunteering to support in the aftermath of the deadly Beirut port blast, collecting data and cleaning up the debris and rubble well into midnight. You all accomplished extraordinary things. Now it's time you go out. You are needed today like no other time in history, yet you are all equipped to make the right choice. Multiply what you do by working in teams and for a purpose greater than yourselves. Build a better future, change the world, and enjoy the journey all along. Faculty of Health Sciences, Class 2021, we are indeed very proud of your achievements. On behalf of AUB, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Sibai. May I ask you to stay on stage, please, for the awards. Associate Dean Justin DeYoung, please. Our first award for this evening is the Kiram Sanyura Memorial Award in Environmental Health. This award is given in memory of Kiram Sanyura, a passionate advocate of social development and child protection in Lebanon, who left too soon. This award is given to the undergraduate student with the highest grade point average in the environmental health program. And this year, the award goes to Ms. Dima Ahmed Jamal Bala. Please, we are accepting this in absentia since Dima could not join us. Our second award is the Abdul Basit Ahmed Sanyura Memorial Prize in Health Professions. This award is given in memory of Abdul Basit Ahmed Sanyura, a highly vigilant and resilient entrepreneur who managed to transform the Sanyura Sweets industries from a local to an international endeavor. To honor his memory and his belief in education and perseverance, his family has established the award, which is given to the undergraduate FHS student with the highest grade point average of the disciplines of health professions at the Faculty of Health Sciences. And this award, Abdul Basit Ahmed Sanyura Memorial Prize, will be offered this year to Ms. Sara Yusuf Amro. Can I ask Ms. Amro to come to the stage to receive the award? All right, our final undergraduate award is the Penrose Award, which is given in recognition of scholarship, character, leadership, and contribution to university life by a university student. And the winner of this year's Penrose Award is Mr. Ayman Zakaria Al-Shuqari. May I ask the President to also be with the Dean presenting the awards. All right, now we're going to move to the graduate awards. قم للمعلم وفه التبجيلا كاد المعلم أن يكون رسولا أعلمت أحسن أو أجل من الذي يبني وينشئ أنفسا وعقولا. This award I'm honored to announce this award as the first graduate award that we will give this year for the Dr. Nadeem Adib Haddad MPH Academic Achievement Award. This is a newly endowed fund that is established by the Haddad family in recognition of the contributions of Dr. Nadeem Haddad to the field of public health in Lebanon and beyond. In his trajectory from a practicing ophthalmologist to an advocate of public health, Dr. Nadeem Haddad joined FHS in 1963, then founded and chaired the Department of Health Services Administration in 1971. Through that period and later, he was one of the pillars in the initiation of the MPH program and was one of the pillars was instrumental in the seeking our first accreditation from the U.S. Council on Education for Public Health in 2006. Dr. Haddad served as a role model for his professionalism and humility, inspiring thousands of students in Lebanon and the region with his out-of-the-box thinking, innovative interventions, simple yet compelling stories captured students' attention in class and made the world of public health tangible. Dr. Haddad was among the pioneers who led the AUB outreach arm and established primary healthcare centers in Bahrain and the region. Dr. Haddad never left FHS. Through his collaborative initiatives, he has helped develop generations of public health professionals in Lebanon, the Arab region, and the US. A role model he continues to play until today. معلمي لك منا كل الاحترام. The award is given reflecting Dr. Haddad's legacy and in recognition of excellence in graduate academic performance to the graduate students with the highest GPA in the Masters of Public Health at FHS. This year's Dr. Nadeem Adib Haddad MPH Academic Achievement Award goes to Ms. Layal Fuad Ghamloush and Ms. Jida Muhammad Al-Mulki. Please come to the stage to receive your awards. Mabruk. Our next award is the Graduate Academic Achievement Award, given in recognition of excellence in graduate academic performance, with the winners having the highest grade point average in the MS programs. This year, it goes to Ms. Elizabeth Koka Muyonko Moko Noyo, who unfortunately could not be with us. Congratulations, Elizabeth. جاور الأنجم واحتل السحابة جبل مهد للفردوس بابا روحك بالسما عم تشع يا نجيب وذكراك على الأرض عم نفتح بوابا. Our next award is the Dr. Musa Najib Ni'mi Endowed Award for Public Health Leadership. This is an endowed fund donated by the Ni'mi family in memory of their son, our student, our colleague, Dr. Najib Musa Ni'mi. Najib received his MD and MPH from AUB. He was a community leader who believed in human development and affecting positive change in society. He was a United Nations Fellow, disaster management specialist, a scout, and a volunteer. Najib was active in health awareness campaigns and often volunteered his services to the Lebanese Red Cross as an on-call physician. He initiated and led the Phoenix Foundation, which offered paramedical training, conducted health awareness and research campaigns, and initiated and supported various clinics across Lebanon. Unfortunately, Najib passed away at the young age of 33, leaving a rich legacy of all-out giving and deep passion to knowledge, education, and human development. The award will be presented to a graduate student who exhibited the spirit and values of public health and has demonstrated potential leadership in public health. And this year, Dr. Musa Najib Na'mi Endowed Award for Public Health Leadership goes to, with pleasure and honor, Ms. Khawla Nasser Al Deen. Mabruk to all the awardees. We still have the Penrose Award speech by Mr. Shukari. Please come to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. President Khuri, Dean Sibai, esteemed faculty members, family and friends watching us live on social media platforms, and fellow graduates. I'm honored to be standing today on this stage giving this speech. First and foremost, I want to thank Associate Dean de Jong and the faculty member representatives for choosing me as the Penrose Awardee for this year and for the trust of the faculty in me. As I reflect back on the past 3 years, my journey at the American University of Beirut provided me with the resources and factors to flourish. This transformative journey pushed me to overcome the obstacles that have been holding back my potential and masking my capabilities. In a nutshell, I have realized that it's really hard to accumulate my 3 years experience in just 5 minutes, as it was full of ups and downs. I know that in the last 1 year and a half, things were hectic for many of us, as we have experienced a disruption in the normal flow of our daily life activities. Experiencing this pandemic, along with the crisis and the catastrophe of the Beirut blast, was not easy for any of us. So please allow me to take this chance to honor the souls that were lost and to thank those who are still fighting this pandemic, especially frontliners from the medical team. On the personal level, this pandemic has taught me more than it broke me. I have gained new skills like resilience, flexibility, and finally I came to understand that smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. My fellow graduates, I want you to realize that you are an exceptional cohort that was able to overcome many hardships. In our success in surmounting these challenges, let's make our achievement today meaningful. Let us go to the world and be exemplary, active, creative, honest, and eager to learn more from others and share with them our knowledge and experience. Class of 2021, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And before closing my message, I want to acknowledge and thank my second family, the MasterCard Foundation, that provided me with the opportunity to receive higher education. Congratulations again. The future is truly in our hands, so let's make the most out of it. Thank you.
Mr. President, recommendations for degrees to be conferred today have already been made by the Faculty of Health Sciences. The candidates who have satisfactorily completed all the requirements and are deemed worthy by the University Senate to be awarded degrees will now be presented to you by their dean. President Khuri, I call upon you to confer the degrees.
Mr. President, as Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, and on behalf of my colleagues on the faculty, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the degrees of Master of Public Health, Master of Science in Epidemiology, and Master of Science in Environmental Sciences, Major Environmental Health. Will all the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degrees for which you have completed all the requirements and express the hope that your learning will lead you to advanced knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field. Congratulations.
I now call upon the graduates from the Faculty of Health Sciences to come to the stage.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Public Health: Sukna Abbas Abbas, Alexandra George Abi Nassif, لبنى عبد الحكيم المجذوب، سمية مطهر الغرباني، جيدة محمد الملكي، جنى علي عساف، زينب مروان عوض، ياسمين نصوح بارودي، ليا بسام شيبان، محمد حسين دعيبس، نسرين أسامة الهادي، لين محمد الخطيب، بتول إبراهيم فنيش، ليال فؤاد غملوش، سامية هيثم حبلي، أماني أمين هاشم، فرح نزيه هيدوس in absentia، مايا محمود حمود، جنى أسامة حلو، Lara Ghazi Qabalan in absentia. Dima Ali Qamar. Mariana Vartan Khajadurian. Zainab Muhammad Khalife. Sana Isam Khandaqji. Sara Sadiq Maliki. Ahmed Abdelal Ahmed Muhammad. Niambora Vanya Marioki. Karine Joseph Naim. Farah Akram Nasir. Khawla Nasser Al Deen. Ghiwa Muhammad Nasser Al Deen. Maryam Ahmed Rizq. Anastasia Wahib Saleme. Isabel Saleme in absentia. Rima Ghassan Shaya. Marcel Muhammad Wahab. Nadine Asad Yunus. Madison Grant. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science, Major Epidemiology. Reem Jihad Kaukab. Isam Ahmed Masri Sha'arani. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Environmental Sciences, Major Environmental Health. Taghreed Bashir Zakaria. You have to endow the...
Mr. President, as the Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences, on behalf of my colleagues on the faculty, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health, Bachelor of Science in Medical Laboratory Sciences, Bachelor of Science in Medical Audiology Sciences, and Bachelor of Science in Medical Imaging Sciences. Will all the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degrees for which you have completed all the requirements and express the hope that your learning will lead you to advanced knowledge for which you have completed, and welcome you to the Fellowship of Educated Men and Women. That's for your masters. but you are now in the fellowship of men and women. Congratulations, undergraduates.
I now call upon the graduates from the Faculty of Health Sciences to come to the stage. The first candidate will be the recipient of the Penrose Award from the Faculty of Health Sciences for 2021. Will Mr. Ayman Al-Shawkari please come to the stage?
Ayman Al-Shawkari graduated with a BS in Medical Laboratory Sciences with distinction. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health: Karen Amin Abi Tarabai with distinction. Aya Ziad Aqel with distinction. Aya Ma'an Al-Ayyash. Sara Yasin Ali. Reem Hassan Awada. Nadine Nabil Darwish with distinction. عمر عامر الأحمدية. سليم أحمد نزار اليافي. جنى غازي فخر الدين. Alan Zaki Fatah with distinction. Dima Ziad Haj with distinction. Nada Walid Hamede with distinction. Karim Ajaj Kiwan with distinction. Dalia Naja Malaab. Yara Fadi Murad with distinction. Ghinwa Jamil Namour. Karim Fadi Saade. Lama Abdullah Saeed with distinction. Mark Bshara Sarkisian. Joanna Samir Tannous with distinction. Johnny Samir Tannous with distinction.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Medical Audiology Sciences: Mira Yusuf Al-Haj with distinction. Muna Fadi Aoudi with distinction. Yara Ahmed Ayoub with distinction. Fatima Mohammed Shami with distinction. Rula Abdullah Zain. إسراء خالد حمزة with distinction. Alexandra Alex Jalech. رواد محمود وهبي. جابرييل موريس يزبك. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Medical Imaging Sciences. سارة عزت الشبندر. فؤاد كامل الشيخ. سارة يوسف عمرو with high distinction. جنى فادي عربيد with distinction. نادين حسن ظاهر. حوراء علي درويش. غيدة حسن فرحات. ريم عباس جباعي. نادين حيدر نون. فاطمة محمد رمضان سعد. كريم صافي زرقط. كارين ويلسون زويني with high distinction. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Medical Laboratory Sciences. Jana Ziad Abu Faraj with high distinction. ياسمين وسيم العطار. سوزي عارف بيضون with distinction. علي محمد دقيق with distinction. محسن عماد الحسيني in absentia. تيمة أسامة غلييني with distinction. دانا علي هادي. كريم فادي حسنية. لميا عصمت هلال. سنة محمد قلعجي with distinction. سيلين محمد قزمة. ناتالي فارس كليب. Leonard Edgar Lawandos with high distinction. Hala Ghiyath Mansour. Jad Talat Saab with distinction. Manal Jamil Salman. Rayan Khalid Shaheen. Muhammad Hani Shbaru with distinction. Wafa Hussein Zayour. Congratulations.
Graduates of the FHS class of 2021, I now have the distinct pleasure of greeting all of you for the first time in many cases and the second time in some, as alumni of the American University of Beirut. A shout out to the registrar for somehow getting all your diplomas printed. The road you have traveled during your years at AUB have been demanding ones, and you are to be congratulated for having successfully met all the academic challenges of the most prestigious and impactful university in Lebanon and the region, and I would argue in the global south. Some of you will be going on to careers here in Lebanon, others will be going overseas, and yet others will be continuing your education, even higher degree programs. Wherever your travels take you, I wish you success in your careers, personal joy and health in your lives, and peace and fulfillment in your communities. At this point, I think it is important to acknowledge the critical role that has been played by your families, your parents, your wives and husbands, even your children, who have walked this road with you, who've contributed their financial means, and have given you their absolute love and moral support. Your success is their success as well, and they are here online to celebrate with you, and I know you will be celebrating with them in person soon. So please, I would like to ask you to again stand and express your appreciation and your thanks for their constancy and devotion. Please stay standing, and may I ask the provost, the deans, the registrar, and the faculty, and all on the platform to join us in standing for the alma mater. Campus of the college, where we
I now declare this commencement exercise at a close. Will all graduates please remain in their places until the President and party have cleared the area? Mr. President, will you and your party please follow me?